Hey guys, it's Jake here with my second YouTube video, but some feedback I got from the first video was to maybe put some of my collection in the actual frame. So this is just the first 10 games that I decided I wanted to play after I did my research and looked at all those. So I got my Vita probably about a year ago, and I have almost 70 games for it now, as you can see. And these were the first 10 I played. And I'm going to talk a little bit about each of them and, what I liked or didn't like about them. The very first Vita game that I ever played was Tales of Hearts R. Okay, if I get used to the camera. So this is, obviously, if you're familiar with the Tales of series, this was a Japan exclusive for the DS or the 3DS, and they ported it through GameStop only to America, and they retitled it Tales of Hearts R because this was 2D and they changed it to all 3D. And it took me a while to beat. I forget exactly how many hours I put into it, but it's not a short game. It's not super long, but it's not short either. And if you've ever played a Tales game, you know what you're getting with this. It's a cute story. It's not like the be-all end-all. But every Tales game is at least like a solid 8 out of 10. You know what you're getting with it. If you love JRPGs, I highly recommend this. It's more of like an action-based RPG. The only problem I had with it was mapping all the different moves to different buttons, and then every time you learn a new move, you'd have to redo everything. And that got like a little tedious for me, but I definitely enjoyed this game. I mean, I leveled everyone up to the max level they would go. There's a new game plus that I'll definitely do at some point. Now, for the rest of the games, I'm not actually sure what order it was, because I kind of just played a bunch, but these are definitely the first 10 I played. I'm just not sure what order, so I'm just going to kind of jump around. But the next game that I really want to talk about is Tearaway. And this is going to be in tons of Vita videos that you watch, and everyone's like, it's surprisingly great. And I remember watching those videos and being like, is it really though? Is it really? And I remember playing it, and I beat it in a day, and I loved this game. It was so great. The story moved me. It's not that deep a story, but it was just so cool to be part of that story. And I don't think people talk about that part of it. They talk about how innovative it is. It uses every feature of the Vita in really cool ways. But the way it makes you part of the story is so cool. I love stories. That's my favorite thing. And I adore this game. But I don't think there's any way that any type of gamer would not enjoy this game. So that's Tearaway. Next, we have Killzone Mercenary. So the Vita, if there's one genre, there's probably a few, but if there's one genre that it definitely is lacking, it's it's first-person shooters. I'm actually not the biggest fan of first-person shooters, but I just heard this game was great and I had to try it. And I will say, it's pretty great. I mean, this could pass for, honestly, a lot of PS4 games. Like, if you played the Killzone for PS4, that was bundled with a lot of consoles, and it's super cheap now because of that. I like this version better. I did beat this game, and, even though shooters aren't my thing, if they're your thing, this is definitely a game you want to pick up. I will say that. Next game, Uncharted Golden Abyss. Again, this is a game you'll see everywhere. That's why it was one of the first games I played. It's one of the few, AAA games when Sony actually supported the Vita, which is crazy to think that they ever even did. But this game is fantastic. A lot of people have played The Last of Us and not Uncharted. So if you've played The Last of Us, Uncharted is basically not as good of a story, but better gameplay, more action, in my opinion, because there's less sneaking around like you have to do with the clickers in The Last of Us. I think The Last of Us is a better game, but that's basically what Uncharted is, and this, can fit with any of the console Uncharted. It's a really good game. It's short. I beat it in a day, again, and to have this kind of experience on a handheld, definitely have to pick it up. Next game is Muramasa Rebirth, and it's called Rebirth because the original came out on the Wii. You'll see a lot of Vita games say Rebirth because they originally came out on other consoles, but this on the Vita is gorgeous. I just remember staring at every screen as I ran by. You kind of run from screen to screen, and there's different backgrounds, and it's so beautiful. I don't know You can kind of see that cover, kind of see the art on the back, but it's absolutely gorgeous and super fun, kind of like hack and slash side-scrolling gameplay. One genre the Vita has a lot of, that probably beats every other system for, is visual novels. So one of the most popular, the most talked about, is Danganronpa. This is the first one, Trigger Happy Havoc. So I played this. It actually took me a little bit to get into. I didn't think I'd really like visual novels, but I actually did get into it. The story was really good. I enjoyed playing it, and I actually got the next, the second and the third one as well. I'm about halfway through the second one right now, and I'm liking this one too. It's a totally different setting than the first game, but at the same time, it's very similar. Even if you don't like visual novels, this is a Vita game that I would definitely recommend, and I think they actually released both of these together for the PS4, so you can play them that way too. It's probably cheaper, but this type of game, it's kind of a waste to play it on a PS4. It doesn't utilize the power, This is a good handheld game that you can just take on the go and have fun with. So far I pretty much recommend all the games. I mean, I'm not that into Killzone, but if you are into first-person shooters, definitely a good game. Child of Light. Now, this it's on a ton of different platforms, but it only had a physical release on the Vita. And I'm definitely a huge physical collector. I have about 1,100 games, so probably not as many as some of you, but I think it's a good amount. It's a classic turn-based RPG, but there is a little twist to the battle system. This is another one that you can beat in a day, 2 days, definitely beat in a weekend. It's not that long a game, but that's really refreshing to me, to have a JRPG that you can beat in a weekend. You can beat it in 10 hours. You can get 100% probably in like 10 to 15 hours. So that's also a game that I recommend. Unfortunately, no platinum trophy for it because it is so easy to 100%. But if you like JRPGs and you're like me and don't really have time to play a lot of them anymore, absolutely get Child of Light. You won't regret it. This JRPG took me a long time to beat, and that was Trails of Cold Steel. And oh my god, this is one of the best JRPGs to come out, around its time period on any platform. I think they are going to port this to the PS4 with the second game, because the third game is going to get released here soon for PS4 only. Unfortunately, it's not going to be on Vita. They did release the second game on the PS Vita, however. So I have both of those. But, again, I think they're going to put both of these out for the PS4. However, if you have a Vita, this was just a magical experience for me. It's such like a traditional JRPG, but it's so well done. The story's so good. There's lots of politics in it. Kind of has like a Persona vibe / like a Hogwarts vibe. It's / like a political landscape. It's such a great game. I can't say enough good things about it. I'll probably give it its own video at some point. Hatsune Miku, Project Diva F Second. This is just a rhythm game, so like, Guitar Hero, those type of games where you just push the button in time, but it's super fun. I love the tracks. Like, the very first track on this is called Melt, and after I played it, like, I found myself, like, going on YouTube to play it and, like, listening to it all the time. I'm actually going to a concert in New York City in July. They have, like, a hologram of the character Hatsune Miku, which is just a character they use for the Vocaloid software that they make the songs with to help sell it. And I'm super pumped for that concert. I also got this one, and I have played this one. This is Project Diva X. I like the gameplay, the user interface, and definitely love the tracks way more than the first one. I mean, the gameplay's pretty similar, but I still definitely prefer this version after I played this one second. And then as for the game I'm playing right now, another JRPG. This is Hyperdimension Neptunia Rebirth 1. So these games originally came out on the PS3. That's why they're Rebirth. And there was 3 of them. So I have the second. I heard one of these two, either the second or the third one, is a must-play. So that's why I'm going through the first one. Now, you can tell this kind of isn't like a huge budget game. But that said, it is really good if you like, grinding, kind of dungeon crawling, which I do. And the dungeons, do have good graphics. This is kind of like the world map. It's kind of like a menu, to be honest. But that's okay. It's still really great for what it is. It's kind of like a parody on the console war, and every character represents a console. So if you're into video game collecting and you like the history of video games, definitely a fun game to pick up, especially if you love JRPGs. Those were the first 10 Vita games I ever played, plus this one I'm playing now. And I hope you guys liked the video. Everybody, have a great day. Bye-bye.